Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Faithful Friday. Thank you for joining me today on this beautiful Friday before Mother's Day. How are you doing? And how are you celebrating Mother's Day weekend? Do you have anything special planned? Let me know in the comments because, as always, I love hearing from you. My special guest today is a mother of two and also a grandmother. She is known as opera's most beloved singer, a title that has carried her for nearly 40 years. Mrs. Frederica von Stade has sung on over 100 recordings spanning from opera, musical theater, comedy, jazz, sacred music, and folk song. She has sung on the most celebrated stages all around the world with the most celebrated artists and conductors, such as Leonard Bernstein, Pierre Boulez, Herbert von Karajan, Seiji Ozawa, George Schulte, and Michael Tilson Thomas, to name a few. She has graced the stages of the Vienna State Opera, the Paris Opera, La Scala, Covent Garden, Glyndebourne, the Salzburg Festival, and the Metropolitan Opera. Mrs. von Stade holds honorary doctorates from Yale University, Boston University, and the San Francisco Conservatory. Her recordings have brought her 6 Grammy nominations and a Grand Prix du Disque award. Frederica can be seen regularly on PBS as part of their Great Performances series and also live from Lincoln Center. On January 20th, 1977, she sang for the inauguration of former President Jimmy Carter. And in 1984, she sang for the second inauguration of former President Ronald Reagan. In 2002, she appeared in concert with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir as part of the opening ceremonies of the Salt Lake City Winter Olympic Games. Frederica von Stade, or as she is more popularly known, Flicka, has devoted much of her time to humanitarian efforts. Today, I'm looking forward to speaking with her about her career, but more importantly, her philanthropic work in underserved communities. And before we do that, please enjoy this video of Flicka singing La Vie en Rose at the Life Victoria Barcelona recital in 2019.
C'est les miens, un rire qui se perce sa bouche. Voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas. Je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, m'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. La 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 la. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie.
Wow, brava. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Faithful Friday my wonderful guest, the legendary Frederica von Stade Flicka. Hi.
Hi, Angel. Now I know why you have that name. You are an
Oh,
angel.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be here with you, especially this very special Friday before Mother's Day. And how are you doing? What are you looking forward to this weekend?
Well, this weekend I have to be away. I'm going to Dallas because they're releasing the film of Great Scott with Joyce DiDonato, and Joyce is giving a little recital. And both my
Oh,
girls, one of my daughters lives on the East Coast, and so we're going to celebrate the day when I get home on Tuesday. So
okay.
I'm not celebrating with them over the weekend, but it's postponed.
Okay. Oh, this is so wonderful. Well, that's great though. So I always ask my guests about the pandemic, of course, because this is one of the reasons why I was able to start Faithful Friday was because my schedule was completely cleared, which I am very
Right.
thankful for that I am able to reach people in this capacity. So I'd like to ask you, how have you been during the pandemic?
Well, I feel a little bit like you, Angel, in that um, when I was around your age, I would have given life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness away to have this time with my kids at that
Mhm.
time. So I've been, the isolation hasn't been so isolating because of Zoom.
Yes.
My husband and I have been very, very careful, but we live near a lot of his family, so we could see each other sort of across fields and that type of thing. And I kind of loved the time. I have loved the time. One of the projects that I'm involved in really demanded an amazing amount of preparation. So all that preparation has been able to happen because of COVID, because of having the time to talk to wonderful young artists like yourself that you wouldn't get a hold of them at any other time. They'd be on a plane going somewhere. And so in that regard, it's been terrific. Where it's been the hardest was not seeing the grandchildren. But I was able to see my grandkids just before COVID started. And then as soon as things opened up, I went back to see them with masks. I looked like, I don't know, I looked like a hospital worker. I had on a suit and the whole thing, mainly to please my daughter.
Yes. Yes.
So
Well,
it's been kind of special in a way, but I grieve for the people who've been deeply affected by it. I mean, you just can't imagine it, losing some colleagues, what families have gone through not to be able to be with their, their family members at the time, at crucial times. I just think it's brutal. It's absolutely been brutal. I said to my husband this morning, we're living in this extraordinary time. It's worse than the World War II. It's worse in many ways. It's more upsetting than everything. And
yes.
still, we're able to see smiles like yours, and so many people are doing wonderful things, which I've been aware of in the last year, to help in certain ways.
Yes.
So there's parts of it that's been a gift, but it's devastating for most of humanity at this point.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. I've asked some of my colleagues during this time if at all they felt misplaced. And I know that some of us are a little bit more honest about it than others. I've heard everything from, no, I welcomed it. I'm happy that it's here and I don't want it to change, to, I've struggled with my identity at the beginning of the pandemic and even throughout because of having so many cancellations and not being able to be on stage. Have you at all during this break, have you felt misplaced or had any identity crisis of any sort during this time?
No, not really, because I'm not performing that much anymore. The only thing I do are sort of benefits,
And I've done quite a bit online, very fun projects with, wonderful NIFOS, a really fun things. The biggest challenge has been technology for me, because somehow it makes me very nervous. And I admire all you kids. And if I had my grandkids around, they'd sort it out immediately. But for older minds, it's been challenging. No, but I can see that so readily, especially for the young artists who were just beginning, who just graduated, who just got into the, had their Met debut set, who, are on at some sort of a major project to look forward to, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And I admire that they keep going, that they keep inventing things. Sasha Cook has her get-togethers online. But I also felt, seeing them the other day, that they were like racehorses at the starting gate. They were, but they also know that it's going to take them away from their families. And, I think of wonderful Kenneth Kellogg, who is on 2 boards that I work with. And Ken has three little ones, and they probably wouldn't have seen him all year if it had been a normal year. Wow. So and he's very cognizant that that's a terrific gift to him and to Megan, his gorgeous wife, and the 3 little ones, So there are good things, but, your singers love to sing. They want to get out there and sing. And when the hours go by and you still have put your score that you're meant to learn in the back of your piano, all of a sudden it's going to come upon them.
That's true. No, it's very true.
But no, yeah, for me, yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm just going to bring us forward right now. We're going to say hello to our audience. Hello, everybody. Please say hello to Flicka. She is my special guest today on Faithful Friday. And I've started this new thing in season 3 of Faithful Friday, and that is every week I'm going to try to pose a question to the audience and also to my guests. I love Mother's Day. I love my mom. I'm very blessed because I have so many women in my life who are like mothers to me. So the question that I'm posing today is, what are you most thankful for today? Everyone, please comment in the comment section. And for me, I would say I'm thankful for my mom. I'm thankful for Flicka. I'm thankful for the women in opera like you who do so much to donate their time to singers, and not just singers, but people also outside of the singing community, as you have done with so many of the charities and the things that you work for. And actually, Kenneth Kellogg is in the comments. Hi, Kenneth. Thanks for joining us today. Yay. Please tell Megan hello. Kenneth is here. And Krishan says, Flicka.
That's so neat.
Yes, and my friend Danielle Walker is here, and she said it's so hard not singing every day in front of live audiences. Danielle is in the Met chorus, and I can imagine that, because the chorus sings all the time. They're singing way more than the soloists do. So I know that must have been very difficult. Here's Hannah. She's thankful for her mom. And hello, Catherine. That's the wrong one. Hello, Catherine. Thank you for watching from Louisville, Kentucky. That's wonderful. Hi, Lou. Yes. Antonio is here again. It's good to see you, Antonio. Thank you for joining us. Catherine says she's thankful for music in her life. Jessica says that she is thankful for her mom and musical mamas, women who've inspired me and shaped my singing. That's beautiful. Danielle says she is thankful for her baby. She has 2 beautiful boys. That's wonderful. It's great. It's a great thing to be thankful and grateful, I think, for, especially during this time, for the things that we have in our life. Miss Flicka, what are you thankful for?
Well, the best thing in my entire life are my 2 girls, Denny Rebecca and Annalisa. And I love, I treasured every moment of their lives, and now they're adults. And I admire them so much. They're just everything to me. I lost my mom a long time ago, and I adored her. She was amazing. And what I what I'm really thankful for is knowing that someone like you is there who has that respect and that joy and that profound affection and love for your mother,
Yes.
because it doesn't always happen. It really doesn't. It's usually mothers and daughters are a little bit like that, and um, it would be my girl. I just from the
Oh,
moment you arrived on the planet, my life changed. And actually singing and opera and performing was my livelihood, but it became a livelihood then, not as great a passion as being with my girls. So I spent most of the time finessing everything I could to get home early, to have to leave late, to take them with me, and in many regards, I've learned a lot about motherhood through the works of Jake Heggie,
oh,
from doing the mother in Dead Man Walking, from doing his wonderful opera 3 Decembers, learning about what it's exploring, what happens to your kids when you're a performer. It's been enlightening, but they are apps, and I have more to be thankful for than I think anybody in the world. Everything I've forgotten, all the bad times in my life, all gone. But top of the list is Lisa and Jenny.
oh, that's beautiful.
They're just she has two daughters, or exactly the same distance apart as she and her sister, and the resemblances are. I keep calling them the wrong names because they're their mom.
Yes.
Their mom and their aunt.
Yes. My mother has 4 girls. My mother has 4 girls, and I'm the youngest of the 4. We're 5 total, but there's our Netta, who's right here. My sister Netta is watching. Hi, Netta. I love you too. But we are 4 girls. And so we are Netta, Felicia, Heather, Angel, and then James. He's the very end. So my mom, she would always encourage us not to bicker. She would always say, y'all cut that out. No bickering and arguing. Yeah. So I think the fondness of the mother and loving the mother is something I think that God puts into every person's heart,
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's miraculously wonderful.
Yes. Oh, what a blessing to have you here today. I'm so excited. Okay, we'll get into the interview now. Thank you for that. It's so beautiful to hear how you admire your daughters. I hope my mom and I have that she feels the same way about me. She does tell me she's proud of me, so that's good. We're going to Yes, she is. Yes. So we're going to get into the interview proper, and I read that your mom gave you the nickname Flicka, which means little girl. Can you share a little bit about that special name?
Yeah, well, my father was killed in the war just before I was born. In fact, I came early because of the shock to my poor mom. And he apparently wanted to name me Siglinda Winifred. For whatever reason, I do not know. And so my mom named me Frederica after my grandmother. Her mother is Frederica, and I worshipped my grandmother. Mm-hmm. And then over the years, because I have uncles, 2 Freddies on each side, my dad's side and my mom's side, there were too many Freddies. So she named me after one of my father's favorite ponies when he was a little boy. He had a little pony named Flicka. So that's how I became Flicka. After a horse.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful.
And all through, I had Catholic education, right through. And many of the nuns would never allow you to have nicknames. They gave in. So it was always Flicka. But when they said Frederica, I was in big trouble.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Do you ever feel awkward when someone calls you Frederica? Or, excuse me, I said Frederica. So do you ever feel awkward when someone addresses you as your first name?
No, I don't. I'm used to it. I was more used to it when I was singing more. Now if someone calls me Frederica, I know that they don't know me, so
Yes.
I have put them at ease quickly.
Yes, I love that. When, I was reading, I've read so much about you and watched so many videos, and I had the hardest time trying to condense the biography to read at the beginning of the show, just because there were so many things I wanted to say, and I thought some of them we can talk about or what have you. But what impresses me the most, one of the things that impresses me the most about your career, there's several, is that you are called the beloved singer, and you've maintained this title throughout your career and still keep it to this day. What do you think has made you the beloved singer that you are?
Oh, thank you for saying that. I would say good fortune and luck. And also, my career came as sort of a surprise to me. I didn't seek it. I wanted to be a Broadway singer. I knew I wanted to sing, but it never occurred to me. Opera, I didn't go to an opera until I was in my late teens. So I think it was just this sense of, oh my God, thank you for this. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm standing next to Claudio Abbado. Thank you. And when everything is more of a surprise, more of a, oh, this is great. I don't think you get bogged down with, what have I done to deserve this? You just go through the next door. That's a wonderful phrase that my friend Jake Heggie uses a lot. You just open, one door opens and you go through it, and you will find miracles on the other side. And the fun of being my age now is that I've forgotten all the doors that might have gone downhill. The hard times, they're just gone from my memory. I just somehow they've disappeared. So all I'm left with are these treasures of knowing people like you and Kenneth and all my colleagues that I adore, and all my contemporary colleagues that I'm friends with, and being just enormously grateful for every single thing that happened to me. If ever I got to the point of saying, well, where is that taxi? And, I'm late. And I had enough of the nuns speaking in the back of my head, and the Sacred Heart nuns saying, get off it right now. You didn't do anything. You were given this, and you just keep being grateful and stop all that other stuff. I had a lot of convent training was part of my existence.
Yes, I probably shouldn't share this with you, but maybe it'll make you laugh. I actually got kicked out of Catholic school, and I was only 4 years old. 4.
What?
The nuns asked my parents, they said, please don't bring Angel back. And my mom said it was because I was very hard-headed and I wouldn't listen. I wanted my way. I was quite stubborn when I was young. But my parents fixed that. They helped me to navigate my way out of that. But I definitely was asked to leave only at 4 years old.
They never should do that. I would speak harshly with them. I would.
Oh, yeah. I think that most people know that you are a person of great faith. Was there ever a moment that you found it challenging to be a person of faith and have the career that you did? And if so, how did you overcome that moment or that obstacle?
I never really did. I never had a crisis of faith. And one of my profound joys now is I'm when I can, I go to Mass in Oakland at a church called St. Columba, and the pastor there is a really good friend. He's Irish. His name is Aidan McLennan, and it's predominantly an African-American church, and he's found the most beautiful statues all over. And I think in the last 10 years of my life, I have been really influenced by the unstoppable faith of the African American community, much more than the Catholic community, of the typical what you think of. I mean, the joy in this church during Mass is incredible. And I don't know. I recently watched a terrific movie called Time. I don't know if you've seen it. It was up for an Academy Award, and it's the story of this woman's life, who she and her husband go to prison, and she spends half of her career. She's an incredible speaker. And what carried her through these she raised 6 boys while he was in prison, and she's just amazing, was her faith. It was, yes, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Never going to, why did this happen to me? This isn't just, this isn't right. It isn't good. But my early days in the Catholic Church were very much, I think that's where sorry.
It's okay. It's fine.
Were very much influenced by, I think that's where my operatic career started, because I really believed that any pigeon flying through the church was the Holy Ghost. Oh, Jahim. Sorry. Okay. I'm putting it in the drawer.
It's okay.
I really thought statues were talking to me. I had this incredible imagination. And then when I went to Sacred Heart schools, we sang all the Mass, every day in Gregorian chant. And so that continued that sort of mystical, thing around Catholicism and around faith. And I truly believed every part of it, and still do, and it's a great comfort to me. I'm a sort of a 5-year-old Catholic, I still believe the way a kid believes. I haven't gone into great ecclesiastical studies or anything.
But that's beautiful. It means it keeps that. It does. It helps to, I think, maybe keep the hope alive in having faith, and really believing.
Yeah, yes. And I love I love Pope Francis. I think he's, doing as much as he can to change the whole angle of the Catholic Church.
Yes.
But they never should have kicked you out of kindergarten.
No, I was bad. They did right. They did well to get rid of me. I wasn't so good. But we're going to shift gears a little bit. And okay. I read a quote, and I don't want to misquote you, but you did say something about, and it's a little bit of a shift in topics as well, because we're going to talk about your voice and how you've preserved your voice over the years. You said something about lyrically when you were younger, and that would help you to be able to sing lyrically when you were 80, which is in 4 years. You have a birthday coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the question I have is, what does lyrical mean to you?
I think lyrical means just being careful of your voice and realizing what kind of a voice you have. And Angel, when I first started auditioning, I got the mezzo book, and I thought I had to sing everything in that for auditions. I thought that, so I used to sing O Don Fatale for some of my first auditions. Needless to say, I did not get the parts. So I learned to I have to respect enormously the actual nature of my voice, and it's a light voice. I have a light voice, and that's what it is, and nothing is going to, no special pills or exercises are going to change that. Just like I had an interesting conversation with Jamie Barton, who is moving into a lot of Wagner, and I said to her, it seems to me that you are born with a voice that will sing Wagner or Verdi, or you're not. You can't push it. You can't force it to that degree. And with the help of the most extraordinary agent, Matthew Epstein, in my life, I was able to respect that 100%. It's not thanks to me. It's thanks to him. He guided me towards, the outer edges of maybe a slightly heavier repertoire. I sang the Componist once in Hamburg, and after the run, I realized this is not for me. I can sing Octavian under some circumstances, but the Componist needs that extra little bit of, Zumba at the end. And that's not in my voice. That's not in nature. And it's one of the things that I really stress with any of the young kids that I work with is you have to be faithful to your own sound, what's inside you.
Wow, faithful to your own sound.
Right. Yeah. Because
Wow, I've never heard that. That's great. I'm gonna write that
and
down.
it's wonderful today because there are so many people helping you to realize that.
Mhm.
You know, the wonderful coaches, the wonderful singing teachers, the extraordinary crew of people that get you where you need to go.
Right.
You know, and
Wow. Do you
so
feel
I think that
oh sorry, do you feel that this has helped you to maintain your vocal health by being, I guess, as you put it, faithful to your own sound? That's what has preserved the vocal cords over the years then.
right. I think so. And I think you know, I've had detours for sure. And one of the big detours that most mezzos are at risk for is overemphasizing the middle voice. And you know, a number of years I had to sort of sit down and say, wait a minute, you know, this can't happen. This sort of shift between, you know, E flat and G. You're gonna pay for this in 10 years. And you know, I was lucky enough to be able to sit down with a wonderful teacher and really go over that part of my voice and not, you know, when you know, Angel, when you're standing up there, you want to give it everything you got. And if the orchestra's behind you and they're a little on the loud side, you might just, you know, tend to give a little more, and you can't. And my supreme example of that is marvelous Kathy Battle. You know, Kathy,
Yeah.
she never pushed her voice. And Kiri is a really good friend of mine, Kiri Takanoa, and Kiri never went outside her voice. And she said when she did a little bit of Tosca, she said, I feel that is not where I belong, you know, and
Wow.
sometimes you have to go through it and make the mistake to find that out, you know,
Wow.
and depend on the 2 or 3 people that you really trust.
Mhm. Yes. We're going to
Yeah.
watch a video right now from 1991, and this is live from the Met. And I want to thank the Metropolitan Opera for letting me play this video. Can you tell us a little bit about this clip of this Offenbach aria that we're going to watch? What were you feeling when you walked on stage?
Well, it was, I think it was for one of Jimmy Levine's celebrations, or 50 years, 25 years, I don't remember. But if you get together a group of artists for a gala, it is like kindergarten class. I'm not kidding you. People are so happy to be together and see each other that even to move them onto the stage is already a challenge, you know, because they're backstage. Well, how are you? How are the kids? I don't know. Where are you going now? Were you in Berlin? You know, so how anybody ever got on stage for any part of that is thanks to the administration of the Metropolitan Opera. I was feeling giddy with joy, I would say.
Yes. Well, here we are with this aria. This is, I think everyone will enjoy this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Flicka singing an aria from Offenbach's La Grande Duchesse de Gerolstein. Gerolstein. Yes,
Good.
I believe. Okay, great. Here we are.
A dear lady who has delighted you on many other evenings will sing an aria from Offenbach's Grande Duchesse de Gerolstein, Miss Frederica von Stade. Vous amène le danger, le péril vous attire, et vous ferez votre devoir. Vous partez Je n'en sais rien, ce que je sais, je n'en sais rien, ce que je sais. J'aime les militaires, leur uniforme coquette, leur moustache et le plumard. Que j'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires,
Brava, 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 brava. Who's here? Are you there? There we are. Okay, brava. So lovely, so beautiful. When you're singing the high notes, can you hear me? Uh-oh, I think she might not be able to hear me. Flicka, can you hear me? Everyone, we'll just take 1 second. I'm not quite sure what's happening. I think it might be, let's see.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Sorry.
Okay, great. I was just going to ask, the brava. I love that so much. At the end of the aria, I when I talk to some of my mezzo friends, we always share that if we were to sing together, we'd have one full long voice in terms of range. And I always get nervous about my low notes, and some of my mezzo friends get nervous about their high notes. I'd like to know, what are you thinking when you approach the upper register? I've also watched your video of Song to the Moon, and your high extension is just phenomenal. How is it that you approach these notes? What are you thinking, if I may ask?
Well, I think there was always a certain amount of, oh my Lord, here it comes. Oh, what am I going to do? But I was lucky to have the most sensational teacher to begin with. He died sort of midway through my career, and I really suffered when he was out of my life, because he was very much like a mentor and a father, really. He was unbelievable. His name was Sebastian Engelberg. And I think I remember my first lesson with him. I was at the Mannes College of Music and not really doing very well vocally. And I'd always wanted to work with him, and we sort of avoided each other because I was so respectful. I didn't want to impose, and he didn't know if I really, one of those things. Anyway, in the first lesson, I sang a high C, and I felt dizzy. I don't think vibration had been that high in my voice. And so we really worked on that to the point that I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. Now, of course, there's the more you know you didn't know. There are all sorts of theories about it, and I think I've explored every single one of them. And I think it's, I do believe that we do a lot of our vocal teaching to ourselves. I've had a wonderful teacher here named Jane Randolph, who I adore. And it was singing, she gave me 10 years on my career of, I had gotten to a point where I was scared of high notes. I was scared of long phrases. And suddenly she opened a door for me, which was joyful to walk through. So I think the concept in the middle of all of this is you are always learning. You are always learning. And there's nothing that should keep you from trying something. I mean, if someone says, drink a bottle of vodka and stand on your head, you might not want to do that. But if they say, pretend you're doing this, and it gets you the notes. My dear friend Susie Graham said she had a high B flat or a high B in when she was here doing Troyenne. And I said, Susie, that was, I mean, that note just rang out. It was exquisite. And she said, I suddenly had this idea that I was going to pretend I'm drunk. I'm just going to pretend that I'm, what? And sing the note. And boy, did it work, And Susie technically singing is one of the most gifted and, esteemed person for her technical prowess. And if you pretend you're drunk and it works, go for it.
Yes.
There's nothing sacred.
Yes. The next section that we're going to dive in here before we wrap up the interview is about your philanthropic work, your charitable work. And I want to start with a quote that I read. There's so many great quotes here. I have like 10 pages of notes, and I know that I'm not going to get through all of them, but this one stood out to me very strongly. In 2011, you had an interview with Everett Evans from the Houston Chronicle, and you said that the school system is not working clearly. If you change the education system in the United States, probably the prison population would drop. Every problem we have practically is related to education, not being educated to be good citizens, not being just plain educated to get good jobs. And you continued by saying, if we don't wake up to education in this country, the United States, there will be chaos raining down. My question is, in all of the charity work that you have done, has education or a lack thereof been the underlying problem that you have noticed?
Absolutely. And it's why I rejoice at Biden's, recent effort to get us on the road to extending pre-K by a year, because you are asking to reverse a lifetime in many families of chaos and all kinds of trauma, and all of it centers around poverty and education. Yeah. When you are poverty stricken, there are no options for you. There's nowhere to go to be, first of all, one of the most important things, to be safe. Mm-hmm. Your home isn't safe. Your school isn't safe. Your neighborhood isn't safe. And I've seen what early education can do. I worked at one point just as a volunteer for something called the Sophia Project here in Oakland. And it was very much based on the whole child. And it was pre-K, especially for mothers who had to work. They paid nothing for it. It was completely gratis. And we had about 15 to 20 children, all age around, some babies, because when it expanded to include babies. First of all, the mothers dropping the kids off knew that their babies were safe. And it was all based around the Rudolf Steiner aspect of education, that you have to create order around children first. There just needs to be a sort of a natural order. So when our kids left the room, they weren't regimented by any means. They were just slowed down. They would go one at a time. When we had meals, they had to be quiet for half an hour during the meal. They had to just sit and eat, because a lot of the kids came from homes where they didn't have enough to eat. So you wanted to be sure that they consumed as much as possible. They helped in the preparation of the food. And what I did there is I did a little music program with them. And I'm not kidding you, those kids could sing. And when we had events incorporating the parents, they were amazed at what their children could do. And the other day, I called on one of the kids that I knew when she was 4 at Sophia Project. And I called on her to help me take care of a friend of ours. And she's 25 now. She's graduated from college. She's going to nursing school. And she is one of the most wonderful young women I have ever met. She helped with everything with my friend. So then I went and worked at St. Martin de Porres, which is a school in West Oakland that serves low-income kids, and we had this marvelous director, Barbara Dawson. So I saw kids from pre-K to 8, and I'm friends with like 5 of them still. They're now in their 20s. One of the phone calls was one of the boys, and I've seen what it did. It gave, it was Catholic. It was very Catholic, but it wasn't overdone Catholic. It wasn't, kids have to do this and they have to, but there was an order and there was a respect. And then YMCO, Young Musicians Choral Orchestra, with this amazing woman, Daisy Newman, who really expanded this program. Our kids, this year we have 6 graduates. One is going to Brown on full, and they have to go on full scholarship. The others are going to U.S. school, California schools. I've seen what happens, so it is education. If you can get kids at 5 years old, 4 years old, babies, into an atmosphere of respect, quiet, giving, performing acts of respect for those around them, that you won't have a prison population. I know what these especially young boys, I know what they face, and it's brutal. It's just brutal.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced any in working with young kids? Have you ever experienced any of them not being receptive or receptive to what you're trying to do for them? I imagine they would be very thankful and grateful.
I haven't really, because the organizations I've worked with, the kids are already so sort of ready to go. There have been kids that have dropped out of certain programs, and I've come across them later, and they've been okay. It just, there's been I've never been disrespected, in other words. And that's not thanks to me, that's thanks to the organizations that I've been working with, and that's been very much top of their list is, with YMCO, Daisy Newman's theory was the power triangle. There's musicianship, citizenship, and grades. So our kids, when they graduate, they have those 3 elements. And, one of our kids went to Yale and has started his own clothing company now. He went to Columbia Business School, all on scholarship, so works. So I'm thrilled with what Biden is proposing. I just hope it comes to pass. And 2 years of college should be free. College fees are outrageous.
Yeah, it would be amazing if that had happened when I was in school. But I'd like to stay with your initiatives and talk a bit about the People's Choir of Oakland. As I was reading about it, it's a choir of the People's Choir of Oakland is designed after a program that was started in Dallas called the Dallas Street Choir. And the program is designed as a musical outlet for those who are affected by homelessness. Can you share a little bit about the People's Choir of Oakland and why is this project so important to you?
Well, I was lucky enough to experience the Dallas Street Choir. I was asked by Jonathan Pallant, its director, to participate in a wonderful evening as a soloist in work called Street Requiem. And, my theory of a lot of building a career is say yes to the dress. If you're asked, you never know what's going to happen. So I said, yes, I'd love to go to Dallas. And that experience of singing with the street choir, which he'd already developed in Dallas as part of something called the Stew Pot, which was an outreach program for the homeless in downtown Dallas. And at one moment, he asked the audience, he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Dallas Street Choir to the stage?" And he had organized that the choir would be dressed in tuxes and gowns.
Oh, wow.
And that experience of watching this choir walk on stage with pride and dignity and joy just changed my life. And then I was able to, when I was, when we were doing Great Scott, I was able to come and work with the choir. Then he organized a trip to New York. We sang at Carnegie Hall with the choir. We sang in Washington, D.C. at the National Cathedral. So my inspiration is this man, Jonathan Pallant, because he did it, and he's a phenomenal choir director and teacher. And he knows everybody in the choir. He's told me it started with about 8 members, and it's now like 150. It changes all the time. But they're the most wonderful people. And it was a chance for me to know these people, to really have experience of being with them and going on the bus with them and getting to know them. So I had a dream to start the same thing in Oakland, which is, or the homeless encampments in Oakland are everywhere you look. And so thanks to COVID and thanks to people like Kenneth Kellogg and Michael Morgan and our Nicole Foland, who is like you. She's the angel that sits above us and makes things happen that I have no skill with, and her enthusiasm. And we think we found home in right downtown. It's at St. Vincent's. We haven't had to really convince the director. It's a shelter, but it provides all kinds of services, and they have an area with a piano. And so we really hope, with the COVID, things that we need to consider, we hope to open during the summer. And it's right in the middle of an area that has quite a few homeless encampments. And our real purpose, we're not going to solve their problems. We can't. The problems are too enormous. But we can just maybe give a little joy, bring some joy and they deserve dignity. And also, one of our aims is to have people who have never had to even consider what it's like to be homeless, to know them. Because eventually what we hope to do is take the choir, whoever is willing and able to come with us, to sing in churches, to sing at the San Francisco Conservatory, to sing at in our cathedral in downtown Oakland, to make appearances, all to help them realize their own value and their own worth and their own dignity and all the things that homelessness has taken from their lives. So I follow everything Jonathan does, with an eagle eye, because he created this. And there's an effort to create it in many cities now. Once you can form a sort of pilot, then it needs to be a bit more of a drop-in situation.
Yes. Oh, lovely. I only have 2 more questions, and then we'll wrap up with our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
But I'm so inspired by all of the things that you do outside of singing. Singing, of course, is what we have the most, I suppose, in common. But no, that's not true, because we have all of these other things. Our faith is the same, and also how we feel about humanity is the same. But I think I have been feeling very strongly ever since I was probably something like 20 years old about giving back to people. This probably comes from my parents, who were pastors, and growing up in the ministry. My parents, we were always going to places like Skid Row in Los Angeles. Actually, I think my very first Thanksgiving, where we actually were at home celebrating Thanksgiving as a family, didn't happen until I was a teenager, because my father and mother always took us to the soup kitchens to feed the homeless on Thanksgiving. And I find that as an opera
Yeah.
singer, they were wonderful, wonderful people. As I find myself as an opera singer becoming more and more filled with like a zeal to help other people, to reach out to people in whatever capacity that may be. And my question is, what advice can you offer those of us who are opera singers in this profession? Like, there are people who are like Michael Fabiano has a wonderful organization that he is a part of, Art Smart, where he's helping children. I'm on the board of directors for Time In Kids, and several other opera singers are on the advisory board for that. But is there any advice that you can offer those of us who are interested in working in this capacity and doing the things that you're doing to help for the greater good, not just for opera, but for the greater good of humanity?
Oh, my advice to you is just what you're doing, is just keep going, and it's at at the point you are in your life with your career is going to really consume a lot of your abilities, but not your abilities, but your time.
Yeah.
There's still time. I mean, you get to town and you contact a shelter or you contact a school, and you go and you just sing a half an hour or an hour sing for the kids, and I'll tell you something, you'll get your best audience in the world. You will get a true reaction of how good you are. It's like, or, it's, first of all, it is so much fun, and you gather, 2 or 3 of your colleagues, and it's easy enough to find places that would just open their doors and be thrilled to have you do it. And it's, during rehearsal time, it's easy to do. It's much easier than people think. And when you start doing it, and I know in my heart that this, Angel, is that when you start doing it, you find how many great people and great organizations are doing the same thing. You all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, nothing's happening for these people. We need to change the world. You can't change the world in big numbers. You can only change it in little numbers. And, the whole motto of the Sacred Heart schooling that I had was, if you change the life of one child, that's plenty for a lifetime. And don't look at numbers, just look at the experience of offering what you have, and your gift is your voice and your musicality and your knowledge and your generosity. There are hundreds of opportunities to, when you're on tour, at any point, and tell them when you're sign the contract. Say, would you help me find some outreach? I would like to do a concert in a church or wherever to benefit a school or something like that, and get them working for you. Wow. Not just on hotel accommodations, and yes. I found people very willing to do that.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Actually, that actually,
yeah. Oh, sorry, Angel. Basically, just keep being yourself. Oh, I can't. Sorry, I can't. I don't know how to turn my iPad off.
That's okay. That's okay. You actually answered Yes, you actually answered my very last question also, and I think that's so helpful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to actually, for myself, make that my new thing when I go to a new city, whenever that may be again, is that I try to reach out to the children in the city in some way. And I love the idea of telling the people who are hiring us, can I do some kind of a concert somewhere in a church or something like that? I think that's so beautiful. Thank you. We are at the end of the interview. This has been a wonderful time for me, and I imagine everybody out there is enjoying this interview as well, my time with the amazing Flicka. So I'm going to bring us forward, and we are going to jump into my very favorite part of the interview, which is rapid fire questions. So please just try to answer the questions as quickly as you can. I'll do my best not to interrupt. I tend to interrupt my guests.
Okay.
But here we are. Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay. Do you prefer nighttime or daytime?
Daytime.
What is your favorite hobby?
Actually, you know what? Cooking, I would say.
Oh, lovely. I'm not a good cook. Sorry, it's not about me, but I'm not a good cook. What is your favorite beverage?
Isn't this awful? Diet Coke.
Oh, that's good. I like Diet Coke too. What is your least favorite type of music?
I hate to say this because I have enormous respect for it, but I don't get off on rap.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I admire the artists with all my heart, but I find it challenging.
Okay. What are you going to do for your birthday on June 1st?
I'm going to be with my granddaughter, so that's my birthday present. Her birthday is June 4th, so I don't know what we're on her birthday. We're going river rafting, so
Ooh.
I think we'll just be preparing for that.
Oh, that's lovely. What do you want for your birthday?
I want. I don't want anything physical. I just want all my dreams of this choir to come off. You know, when you're in the middle of something like this, when you reach a certain stage, all of a sudden these doubts come in. Can this happen? Can we pull this off? Can we really get together? Can we make it last? You know, so that would be, you know, an answer to one of those dreams. And most important for me would be the health and well-being of my husband and my girls and my dog.
Beautiful. Who was your favorite mezzo soprano?
My favorite was Janet Baker, and my favorite soprano was De Los Angeles, Vittoria de Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
Everything she sang went directly into my heart. The same with Janet. I just worship, and I was able to be on stage with her. I was able to watch her every single day at one point, one summer. Every day I went to her rehearsals, you know, so.
Oh, lovely. What state is better, California or New Jersey?
California, I'd have to say.
Okay.
I love California. I'm in Jersey, but I love California.
Do you have any pets?
Do I? I have a absolutely gorgeous dog named Sadie Sarah, named after my mom. And she's a West Highland terrorist.
Oh, beautiful. What time did you go to bed last night?
About 10:30.
Do you prefer an Android or an iPhone?
iPhone. iPhone. I can't deal with Android. I can't deal with PCs. You know, it's a little bit easier for senior citizens, all the Apple products.
Was Herbert von Karajan as handsome as he looks on TV?
Yes. He was a little bit scary. Yeah. Funnily enough, he was very, very affectionate towards his singers. Very
I've heard others
dear.
say that, yeah. Really?
Yeah, very, very sweet to us. You'd hear him growl at everybody else, but he was wonderful to us.
Fill in the blank. A route to the
sky.
Yay! I learned that song. I learned that song listening to you, and I learned Joy Alone listening to Nicole Fallen. So that's very exciting to me. Okay, I have just a few more.
Okay.
If you could only sing one role for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Given the fact that I could sing it still, I would say Cendrillon, which I didn't sing that much. Cendrillon of Massenet.
If you
who doesn't want to be, you know, sorry.
I know. It's an amazing part. If you could tell your younger self anything, at any time in your life, what would it be?
Work harder, study more.
Oh, beautiful. Fill in the blank. I am really good at.
I am really good at postponing things. I've made it an art.
Wonderful. That's good, though. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh my. Lucky, lucky, lucky.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm lucky to have you here on Faithful Friday. Thank you for joining me today,
Oh,
Flicka.
Angel, just knowing that someone like you is out there singing and being who you are is a wonderful experience for me.
Thank you.
So keep going, please, dear girl.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm just going to put you in the backstage area and I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. And then I'll be back with you after I end the broadcast. Everyone, please say goodbye to Flicka. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun. This was a very special episode for me. I have admired Frederica von Stade from, I don't know, probably since I first heard of her when I was around 8 or 9 years old. My father and I used to listen to her recordings, and I remember watching her live from the Met from 1991 with my dad. That was one of the last things he and I shared together before he passed away. So this interview is incredibly important to me. Thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place, same channel. And I wish all of you beautiful mothers out there a very happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my mom. And I'm also wishing happy Mother's Day to all of you stepmoms out there, because as many of you know, I am a stepmom. So stepmoms, you're not left out. God bless everybody. Have a beautiful week, a wonderful Mother's Day weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody.